Story for the disobedience article. The mini stories are just silly, funny little stories to help you practice and remember the new vocabulary, some of the new vocabulary from the article, so that you hear these new words in a little bit different way, different sentences, and hopefully this will help you to remember them. Okay, let's get started. Once there was a guy named Luke. Luke was a rebel. The authorities vilified him and said he was an abominable person. But Luke was really an admirable man. He had a good conscience. He always fought for what was good and just. He refused to obey unjust laws. So, the authorities condemned Luke, and they sent Darth Cheney to kill him. Darth Cheney was an unscrupulous man. He tried to kill Luke. He tried to shoot him. He tried to poison him. He tried to stab him. But he always failed. Finally, in the end, they fought each other. Luke won and killed Darth Cheney. Okay, let's do it again one more time, back to the beginning. There was a guy named Luke. What was Luke? Luke was a rebel. So did Luke
was a rebel.
work for the government?
No, Luke didn't work for the government.
No, he did not. Was Luke fighting the government?
Fighting the government. Yes.
Yes, he was. He was a rebel. He was fighting against the government. The authorities vilified him. So, did the authorities say he was a good person?
No, the authorities didn't say he was a good person. The authorities say he was a terrible person, an evil person, an abominable person.
No, of course not. Did the authorities say he was a hero? No, of course not. What did the authorities do?
The authorities said Darth Cheney to kill him.
The authorities said he was a terrible person. The authorities said he was an evil person. The authorities vilified him. Who vilified him?
The authorities.
Did the private companies vilify him?
No, the private company didn't vilify him. The authorities vilified him.
No, the authorities vilified him. The government vilified him. Okay, what kind of person did they say he was? How did they vilify him?
Well, they describe him as an evil person, a terrible person, abominable person.
Well, they vilified him by saying he is an abominable person. Was he just a little bit bad?
No.
No, the authorities said he was abominable, terrible, very, very bad. The authorities said, Luke is an abominable person. He's a monster. He is horrible. He is evil. He's abominable. Was Luke really an abominable person?
No. Luke wasn't an abominable person. Luke was an admirable person. A good person. He had a good conscience.
No, Luke was not really an abominable person. Luke was an admirable person. Was he a good man? Yes, he was a good man. Should we respect Luke? Should we admire Luke? Yes, of course, we should respect and admire Luke. Why? Because he's an admirable man. Why is he an admirable man? Well, he's
he had a good conscience.
admirable because he has a good conscience. Does he try to do what is good? Yes, he always tries to do what is good. Does he do bad things? Does he do evil things? No, Luke has a good conscience. He always thinks about what is right and what is wrong, and he always chooses to do the right thing, the good thing. So Luke has a good conscience, a very good conscience. That's why he's admirable. All right, what kind of things does Luke fight for? What?
Well, let's fight for the good and fight against the government for fairness, for trust. He wants fairness, fairness.
What does he want to do? What does he want to help? Well, he always fights for what is good and just. He wants justice. He wants fairness. He wants everyone to be treated very nicely by the government. He wants the government to help everybody, not just the people with power. So he wants justice. He wants to fight for justice. He wants the government to be just. Very good. Will Luke disobey the government? Yes. He disobeys the government. Does he always disobey the government? No, not always. He only disobeys unjust laws. Does he disobey just laws? No, he will follow a good law, but he disobeys unjust laws. He refuses to follow unjust laws. He will not follow bad laws. How does he refuse these laws? Well, he just says no. He won't do what the government tells him to do. He refuses. He says, no, I won't do it. It's a bad law. It's unjust. It hurts people. That's why I refuse. So do the authorities understand Luke?
No, the authorities didn't understand him. The authorities the authorities condemned him.
The government understand Luke? No. They don't understand him. They condemn him. They say, Luke is terrible. He must die. Luke is condemned. They decide he must die because he's very, very bad. So Luke is condemned by the authorities. When they condemn him, do they want to put him in prison?
No, they didn't want to put him to a prison. They want to kill him.
No, they condemn him to death. They decide, they say, Luke must die. So what do they do?
So they send Darth Cheney to kill him.
Well, they send Darth Cheney to kill him. What kind of man is Darth Cheney? Is he a good man?
No, he isn't a good man. He is unscrupulous man. Unscrupulous man.
No, he's not a good man. Is he a terrible, evil man who loves to hurt people?
Yes.
Well, not really. He's an unscrupulous man. That means he doesn't care about good. He doesn't care about evil. He doesn't care about either one. He only cares about power. He only cares about himself. So he's unscrupulous. Is he a selfish man? Yes, he is. He is very selfish. He only cares about himself. Will he do bad things? Yes, he will do bad things. Will he do good things? Well, if it helps him, he will do good things. He's unscrupulous. He doesn't care about good or bad or evil or justice. He just doesn't care. He only cares about himself and power. He's unscrupulous. So he's unscrupulous. It means he doesn't follow the rules and he doesn't care about good or bad. He tries to kill Luke. He tries to shoot him with a gun. Pow, pow. He tries to poison him, right? Give him poison and so Luke will drink it and die. And he tries to stab him with a knife. Tries, right? Poke him, stab him with a knife. But he's never successful. In the end, what happens? Well, in the end, Luke fights against Darth Cheney, and Luke wins. Is this good? Yes, it's good because Luke is an admirable man. He's a very good man. We admire Luke because he's a good man. He has a good conscience. He always thinks about what is right and what is wrong. What about Darth Cheney? Does he have a good conscience? No, of course not. He has no conscience at all. He is unscrupulous. He's totally unscrupulous. He has zero conscience. No conscience. All right, I'm going to tell the story one more time with not so many questions. All right, there was a guy named Luke. He was a rebel. He's rebel because he fights against the government. The authorities vilified him and said he was an abominable man. The authorities? Who are the authorities? Well, the authorities are the government, the president, the army, the police. These people, the authorities, vilify Luke. They call him terrible names. They say he's evil. They say he's a villain, a bad guy. All right. What do they say? They say he's an abominable man, a terrible, horrible, evil man, right? So the action, what they're doing is vilifying him, and they're describing him as an abominable man. That's how they vilify him. Is Luke really an abominable man? Of course not. Luke is a very admirable man, a very good man. We admire him. We respect him. He's admirable because he has a good conscience, a very strong, good conscience, always thinking if something is right or if something is wrong, always trying to do the good thing, the right thing. He always wants to be just. It means he always wants to be fair. He always wants to help people. That's why he's a just person. He wants justice. But Luke has a problem with the government because he refuses to obey unjust laws. He says no. He says, I will not do something bad. I will not obey. I will not follow the bad laws, unjust laws, the bad laws that hurt people. He says, no, I refuse to follow those laws. I refuse to obey. Because he refused to obey, the government was angry. The authorities were very angry. They condemned him. They said, we think he is a bad, terrible person. We decide Luke is evil. Luke is bad. He must die. They condemn Luke. They condemn Luke to die. They send Darth Cheney to kill him. Is Darth Cheney the same as Luke? No. He has no conscience. He doesn't care about right, doesn't care about wrong. He cares about nothing, only power and himself. He's an unscrupulous man. Darth Cheney is totally unscrupulous. He does not care about anything or anyone other than himself. He doesn't care about rules. So he tries to poison Luke. He tries to shoot him with a gun in the back. He tries to stab him with a knife in the back. He's unscrupulous. But none of this works. Darth Cheney always fails. And in the end, admirable Luke, admirable, good, just Luke, Luke, who has a great conscience, finally wins. He fights against Darth Cheney, and he wins. Darth Cheney is killed. It's a happy story because Darth Cheney is unscrupulous, but Luke is a rebel and a hero. He's admirable. Okay, that's it. Listen to this story a couple times. It will help you remember some of these words, and it might help you, not might, it will help you use these words more correctly. So if you read the learning guide a few times, you start to understand some of the words. Then you listen to the article, right? You listen to the first article, disobedience. You listen to that many times. You start to understand more. After a few times, you listen to the vocabulary explanation, and now you get a little bit better idea. What is the exact meaning of some of these words? Finally, you listen to the mini story several times, and again, you start to hear these words in a real situation with whole sentences, and you get more of a feeling for how the words are actually used. So all these parts, the learning guide, the article, the vocabulary, and the mini story, they work together. So do all of them, it will help you a lot. And finally, try to write a little bit about this subject in the forums. None of you are doing it, so please try. Okay, I'll see you next time. Good luck with your English learning. Bye-bye.
Well, there was a guy named Luke. Luke was a rebel. The authorities didn't. The authorities vilified him and said he was an abominable person. He was an abominable person. Abominable person. Abominable person. But Luke was an admirable person. He had a good conscience. He always fought for a good and just Mm, he refused to obey the unjust laws, so the authorities condemned him. The authorities condemned Luke, and they sent Darth Cheney to kill him. Darth Cheney was an unscrupulous man. He tried to kill him. He tries to shoot him. He tried to poison him. He tried to stab him with a knife, but he always fails. Finally, in the end, Darth Cheney and Luke uh, fought together for each other. Luke won. Luke won and killed Darth Cheney.